Hi, today in this video we will discuss about the CRM page from Taskthru. So I'm just going to start with logging in. So from my task sheet I can access the CRM page from menu under CRM, the first option, which is customer services page, which loads the CRM page. Now if you scroll down, you can see the entire lead list here, and which is differentiated by these colors. Green stands for completed orders, the brown color stands for field activity, orders which are currently in field. Blue stands for orders which are currently in the office, and the plain white background shows that there's been no activity or no orders being assigned to that lead yet. We can further use these buttons to filter down based on the status. So if I click on completed, the leads list will be filtered just to show the completed orders. At any given point of time, we can just click on this go back button, where it will go back to the original view state of the page. Okay, there you go. Now let's look at these options that we have here. Starting with, we can insert a new lead by just clicking on that button. Well, it's pretty straightforward. You enter the lead information. Along with that, you can also search for the information entered to see if it's already existing in the database or not. Similarly, we can also search for records by just clicking on the button. Same form is generated where we can search based on inquiry number, search based on the lead ID, the name, etc. We can import leads by just clicking on that button there. And there's an Excel sheet template which we can download, and onto the downloaded Excel sheet we can just copy and paste the values and save that Excel sheet and upload that using the uploader tool here, the uploader control here, and we can import those leads into our CRM by just clicking on the import leads button. Now we go to campaigns. I click on manage campaigns. So we can create a campaign, a basic campaign, by just clicking on create a basic campaign button. And I'm just going to enter the name of a campaign for services. Just gonna save that campaign. So on saving the campaign, we can create an email template for the campaign, which is, I just click on that. I can enter a name of the template for services, and I can enter the content of the template there. Now this content could be the actual content of email when we're talking about email campaigning, or the content of an SMS if we're talking about an SMS message, or if it is a telecalling, then it could be the telecalling script. So I'm just going to enter the content. Right. Now we come down to file uploads. So I can just upload multiple files or images or documents. When we're done with that, just click on Finish button. So that campaign has been saved successfully, and along with the email template. So now we go to Advanced Campaigns. We can actually do certain advanced functionalities here. One very important feature is to create a micro CRM. So let's say, for example, if you're a supplier who's got distributors across various districts or various states for that matter, and you want to give access to your CRM to these distributors, but only pertaining to the leads from these distributors district, the district that they are handling, then I can create a micro CRM from here, allocate my entire lead list from that district to this micro CRM, and I can provide an access to the distributor by just creating a micro CRM. So basically these distributors will get a window access towards the organization's entire CRM records, where it is pertaining only to the leads of their district or their operational area. Okay. And then we have other advanced options, like we can do group emails. So in group emails, we can filter the leads based on various criteria, based on, let's say, the locality, based on the salary range, or based on any number of criteria. Any unlimited number of filters can be employed on your entire lead list. And the filtered list of leads can be allocated for group emails, and group emails can be sent out. The same thing can be done by filtering the leads to any level. We can allot that to a micro CRM, and allocate the micro CRM to your distributor or a dealer accordingly, so that they can deal with their leads directly. So I go back. Manage email templates we've already discussed. Now we come to manage pin codes. So for pin codes also we have similarly, we can download the template and the Excel sheet template, and copy and paste the values onto the Excel sheet template. Use the uploader tool and upload the file, and import the pin codes by just clicking on the button here, and it will import the pin codes onto our CRM, our database. Additionally, we can manage bands for our coverage area. So say, for example, if we're dealing with an entire state, we can possibly divide the state into different bands for every district in the state, and allocate these bands to the employees in your organization, so that these employees will be responsible for any leads arising from these bands. So a couple of advanced options like that. I won't go too deep into that at this point. I go back. Now we look at the field reports. So basically the field reports show the reports for the day by default, The finished reports show the orders which have been completed. If you click on now, it shows whatever the reports which are happening right now from the field. Upcoming shows all the orders which are upcoming for the day. Now we can also select a date range from these calendar controls and click on search to show the customers that we've dealt with across this date range. On clicking any of the customer, we'll be able to go into the further details of the customer, and that they're on the details of the order itself, which we'll come back to that in a while. So now I go on to the sales funnel and reports. So here we can see a sales funnel has been generated. A funnel has been generated if there is for all the orders where there is a value which is assigned to it, and towards the top of the funnel will always be the orders which are further away from closing the sale, and towards the bottom of the funnel will be the orders which are more closer towards the closure of the sale, which of course when you click on any part of the funnel it will further segregate and show the details accordingly, going straight to the customer details. Just go back and I go back and we have a telecalling mode. By just clicking on that, we can select a campaign. Now on selecting a campaign, if we have allocated leads for this campaign, then only those leads will be displayed here, and we can go on doing telecalling on for every lead or every customer. And then if the customer is not interested in the campaign, there is an option to actually denote that the customer is not interested, and that customer will be omitted from the campaign. So it's very convenient when you're doing telecalling. Right, now let's go into the lead list itself and very briefly explain what all we can do with the lead list. So now as you can see in this, the email ID is missing on the first customer, which is Jacob Alex. So I'm just going to edit that record, the customer's record, and add an email ID. Okay, so I've entered an email ID and I just click on update. So now you can see that customer record has been updated with an email ID there. Now I'm just going to select one customer. We're going to select this customer particularly because we've already made a video on about how we dealt with this customer, how the sales processes were passed on from one employee to another until it was closed, in a previous video of mine. So I'm just going to select that customer and go into the analytics of that customer. So basically on selecting the customer, it will tell us from what date we've been dealing with the customer, the address and the relevant details of the customer. And further on we can see every order placed, every order placed by the customer. Shows very clearly who has in the order, who handled the order, the tracks available, and the distance covered while dealing with the customer, the travel expenses, the number of reschedules, the total turnaround time for the customer, and the total cost of staff. So if we just click on the tracks part there, we can see all the tracks which is available for the customer. So if a sales executive has gone out, let's say 5 times to meet the customer, there will be 5 separate tracks, and we'll be able to see the date, the start time, the end time, the number of minutes involved, and the total distance covered for every time there's been a travel activity for the customer. And additionally, we can see the map also, which by just clicking on a map, it will generate a map. And the trails we can see by clicking on static trail. We can see the route taken by the executive to meet the customer. Okay, so I'm just gonna close those, and I'm gonna see a few the entire activity log of the order. So by just clicking on that, I'll be able to view the full history of the order, the entire activity log as to how the order has been assigned from and how the order passed on across the executives, how the status has changed. Basically, the entire activity log is available to view here. So if there is any time any customer complaint or anything, we can just open the activity log and see all the changes that's happened and while dealing with the customer. Right, so just clicking on that, it will close the activity log tab, and we come down. So by clicking on that, we can enter the products, we can upload documents, we can reschedule and all that. Not gonna go into that now. Coming further down, we can see the products involved in the sale. There you go. And the net profit or loss. This is a real-time profitability accordingly. So there's a cost of execution which is generated based on the available cost that we have currently, which is the travel cost and the cost of staff. Coming down, we can see the invoice details, the price, the total invoice value, the price, the taxes, the balance amount, again cost of execution, net profit or loss accordingly. And the last part being the collection follow-ups, how many collection visits we've done, and how much amount has been collected, what is the balance to be collected, and the next date of collection, which is 30th of October. Right, so we go up and we can see the report summary, which are further analytics on the customer. I just click on that, and it will generate detailed analytics on the customer. It's quite extensive. I'll just briefly go through the values. The total number of inquiries from the customer, total billing, total fulfilled orders, any blanket discount which is allowed for the customer, the highest billing ever recorded for the customer, the average billing, the orders value of which segregated between fulfilled orders and work in progress, same orders, the cost of orders for a company, the gross earnings, the number of work in progress orders, the total amount of discounts given to the customer, again segregated between the blanket discount allowed for the customer and direct discounts given by the executives or employees to the customer, the payment modes in cash, check, whatever, the balance receivable from the customer, the total number of collection visits on the customer, average number of collection visits for the customer, average expenses per inquiry for the customer, total amount in expenses, again segregated as in 2 separate heads, valid deals and invalid deals. Valid deals being all the deals where the customer is still interested, or where the sale process is still going on, or the sale is closed. Invalid deals would be all the deals where the customer says they're not interested to proceed anymore, and the entire deal becomes basically a waste of time and money and energy for the company. Total distance traveled, again bifurcated into valid deals and invalid deals. Total travel expenses, average distance per inquiry, total time spent in minutes, total staff utilized, 3 staff is utilized as you can see, and number of deals called off while the work was in progress, number of deals which was rejected or where the customer said they're not interested, the cost of field staff, and we can configure the working hours. So you can see it's generated 38 rupees. Clicking on the button, we can further configure the work hours per day, per week, per month accordingly, and the travel allowance per kilometer. And coming down to the summary of the staff, we can see general summary of all the staff which is involved in closing the deal, and the detailed occurrences of the cost of staff. So what is recorded here, we have the cost of staff for B1 sales, the start date and the end date, the minutes, and the cost of the staff. So cost is derived directly based the cost of the staff is derived from the salary of the staff with the actual amount of time that the staff has spent on this customer. And I just hide that for the time being. And going back to our analytics, we can see the total turnaround time, the total number of reschedules, the total number of documents, the total cost of execution, which would be the sum of all the expenses, all the travel expenses, all the general expenses, all the expenses of the staff, all the staff time utilized, everything together gives you the cost of execution. And we finally arrive at the tentative net profit or loss from that particular customer. So this would be all the deals from the customer, and deducted with all the expenses incurred on the customer will give you the tentative net profit or loss. Shows very clearly whether the customer is currently being profitable or being a loss to the company. So this real-time profitability is very important for the managers to make very wise business decisions, own the customer accordingly. So say for example, if the customer is currently being a loss to the organization, then they can decide not to give them any more discounts, for example, or if the customer is already being profitable for the company, they can give further discounts to the customer and enhance the sales with that customer. So I just close that report summary. Now we shall just look at allocating a sale to a customer. So let's go with the customer where no order has been assigned yet. I can select a campaign. Because there's an email ID available, I can generate an email if I want. And I select the template which is entered for the campaign. Test subject. And automatically it generates the content which is entered for the template. As you can see, this is exactly the content we had generated. Name is automatically taken from the lead. The attachments, we can select the attachments which are applicable for this email. Click on next. Shows you a preview of the email, and I send the email out. Okay, there you go, mail's been sent successfully. So I'll show you what the email looks like. Yeah, so that's what the email looks like, and complete along with the attachments. Now we go back and we are going to proceed with an order. So I click on proceed. where we can just assign now, or if the customer is not interested, I can record it as not interested. Then that customer would be omitted from this campaign, and I can schedule it for a future date, or I can allocate it directly to the field. So I shall just assign instantly by just clicking on assign now. Now if I click on the customer, you can see order has been assigned, and you can see the current status, callback customer handled by B1. Now you can see that customer Matthews has gone into assigned mode, which means the order is currently in the office. Okay, thank you for your time.